What's up guys, and welcome back to Tech Plant. Today is actually kind of a sad day. The Tech Plant bedroom is going to be no longer here. I'm disassembling everything and taking everything out. It's kind of the end of times for the Tech Plant bedroom, but have no fear because the Tech Plant basement will be a thing soon. But as I kind of take things apart and kind of reminisce about the last 2 years, I'm going to give you kind of a small tour just because it'll be the last one. Actually, why waste my time giving you a tour of the old place when we can jump right into it and start a tour of the new place? Let's take a look. Alright, so I'll just give you kind of a small tour and show you what I'm all up to and what to expect in the future. Let's check it out. We'll start off with kind of the grow light test that I've been doing. This is that Viper Spectre light, but I've got veggies growing in here and they're actually doing quite well. If you look at the Micro Tom tomato species, these things are honestly only about 3 inches and they're growing a ton of cherry tomatoes. I do have a complete series on this that I've been slowly releasing, so kind of stay tuned for more updates, but I think this tomato variety is absolutely wild. On my Instagram, I talk about a lot of things like over time, but I did mention getting a 3D printer. I'm really excited to kind of introduce a little more tech into Tech Plant now that I have space, and I think the 3D printer opens up a lot of options for the aquarium hobby, hydroponics, terrariums, just really everything. I started printing some pots so far and it's been really awesome. My monsteras are kind of just sitting in the corner for now. They're getting residual light, so nothing extreme, but eventually I'll find a better place for them as I build out the basement more. But we got to kind of start small, so for now they're just sitting up against the wall. But they are growing pretty decent even though they're not really getting a dedicated light. Next up is kind of like the trailing plant section, or the more vining plant section. So here's my micans after almost probably a year, I think, and doing some propagation. They're actually getting quite big. I mean, there's a lot of leaves and a lot of nodes on there, and I think I might cut it all up and just get a bunch of plants going. I've also got some like Mandula pothos that are really doing well, and I really love the variegation on them. My poor Adesanya got a little burn from a little too much neem oil, but I was really trying to eradicate all the pesky spider mites. I think I got rid of them for now, but I guess we always think that, and then a week later we find a bunch more. But anyways, it'll bounce back. This spider plant, however, is producing a ton of babies, and I'm definitely going to do a propagation video about it soon. I'm going to try and test different mediums just because there are so many babies coming off of it, so stay tuned for that one. Now that I have more space to kind of grow out and a bigger basement to expand into instead of a bedroom, I'm going to try and get more into some cactuses and succulents and other plants that I've really neglected on this YouTube channel just because I haven't had space. So if you guys like those types of plants, you can maybe suggest some or different videos that I could try doing about them, and I'll try and pick some up. Here's that propagation bin that I did a video about a while back. I honestly really love using bins as propagation like containers now. They work so well and everything just grows so fast. I mean, they root and they just start growing, and I just love it. Here's my Monstera Adesanya with the variant being the Laniata that I ended up getting lucky and getting at Home Depot. It's doing okay, but again, the neem oil kind of did some damage along with some spider mites. I do have another type of pothos back here, as well as a kind of ZZ plant. I have another one elsewhere, but I'll probably try and do a propagation video on those as well. And then here is my Cebu Blue, which I finally got a hold of a few months ago, and it's starting to grow out pretty well. It started as just a cutting. Here's another section of plants that I don't think you've ever really seen other than the watermelon peperomia. These are mostly Hoyas with a few other random plants mixed in, like a string of turtles and African violet. But I haven't really talked about these much or propagated them much just because I'm still kind of learning about them, and I've kind of been going back and forth from killing them to bringing them back to life. So eventually I'll make some videos about them too. Here's another bunch of plants that you guys probably have not really seen yet. I can't remember if I released a plant haul video. Honestly, I haven't done those in a long time, even though I have a lot of footage built up. But here's a bunch of kind of rare, not rare orchids, but orchids I got from some nurseries that I think are pretty cool and interesting looking, as well as some begonias that I think you've seen in some previous videos. They're all very pretty though, and I do like just staring at them. Although my begonias could really use some work. They're kind of leggy and stringy looking, and I think I'm going to chop them up and propagate them. This is a new one, and this is an Alocasia Maharani. Sorry if I butchered the name, but it's super cool, and it has like these very plastic-like leaves, and I really like it, and I hope I can care for it well and get into more of these varieties. Here's another orchid that I believe is actually putting out a spike, which would be really awesome because I have not seen this one flower yet, and I'm super excited if that's the case. This one that's kind of growing on the piece of wood is going to be called Rhaphidophora Hei, and this one I actually got as kind of a housewarming present, so it's pretty cool. Here we just have 2 philodendrons. This first one is a Birkin, which is finally showing some really nice variegation, followed by what I believe is a black cardinal philodendron, but don't sue me if it's not. I'm not 100%. Here are just 2 small jars I've been growing some spike moss and markgravia in. They're growing pretty well, and it's pretty much no upkeep. You just put some water in there, shut the lid, and just kind of leave them go ham. But they've been pretty fun to watch grow. Here are some Anthurium gracile, I can't pronounce it, sorry again. Anyways, they're seedlings I've grown from seed, and I am in the midst of making a video about them, but man, the spider mites love them. Some of you have seen these in my older videos, but these are actually carnivorous plants and a whole boatload of them. These are mostly sundews in here, and I do have a few other kind of sitting around somewhere, but I plan on doing a lot more videos about these guys. A lot of people have asked for them, so now that I have some space, I'll do a lot of propagation and just other videos about them and maybe their care. Here's another small propagation bin full of terrarium plants that I got from this really wonderful woman. I ordered one plant from her and she sent me like 7 as a bonus just to be kind. I'll be making a dedicated video about these soon, so stay tuned for that. This is one of my favorite bins. This one is filled with Philodendron melanochrysum. This is a really cool philodendron that gets some massive leaves if you give it the proper care and a big moss pole. This is going to be the main plant that I really want to sell at a low price. A lot of people are selling like a barely rooted cutting for like 75 to 100 bucks, but I want to try and bring that price down to like 25 or 30 bucks for a nice rooted cutting. I'd say I'm probably 3 or 4 months away from doing that though, because I do want to cut all of these up and try and get them all growing again, just so I have a good solid stock to keep cutting from. That way I don't run out and then I'm just out forever. So I'm trying to build up a good steady stock. There is a little Anthurium magnificum hiding in this bin. I was able to trade for this, so hopefully I can propagate the heck out of this one, and maybe in a year and a half I'll have a good stock too. I'm not really sure though. Well guys, that pretty much sums up this kind of new place tour. There's still a lot to show you. I have more rooms that I'm going to kind of deck out with aquariums and other plants. I want to make a dedicated propagation room that's going to look pretty darn cool and futuristic, so stay tuned for that. I hope you like that the channel is still alive and not completely dead, and we have an upgraded, better space. So as always, may your plants grow strong and healthy. I will see you next time.